Hey guys, hope you all have had a good couple of weeks. It is a dreary Sunday here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I went on a 12-mile hike yesterday, so I'm sore and I've given myself permission to lay around the house and eat food that is bad for me and, I don't know, just sit around. And anyway, I'm going through my email and, I got a response from someone on Witchfox, a seeker letter, and this isn't actually about that seeker, but just generally, because one thing that happens is I get seeker letters, and like the first thing I'll do is I'll Google people's email address to see what I can dig up on them online, which maybe sounds creepy, but I think like we all do that, right? I think it's necessary. I certainly don't feel bad about it, and I am continually amazed by the things that I can turn up in 5 minutes on people. I tell you what, some of my university students have some really like unfortunate things on the internet, and I don't think that they're aware that just anybody can see them. But whatever, what have you? That's their business. I don't really care. But one of the things I turned up, again, not on this particular person, he was totally fine, but I was poking around, kind of following the trail on Google, and I ended up on a forum, a Wiccan forum. I think it's called Wiccan Together. I've heard of this before, but I've never been on it. I really don't know anything about it. You know, like Pagan Space and Wiccan Together and Coven Space and all these things that used to exist or still exist. I don't really know if people use them, but based on these forums, they kind of use them. And I'm poking around on Witchvox too, of course, Witchvox. And I'm just really amazed by the dozens and dozens and dozens of people that I'm finding in my state complaining that they can't find other Wiccans or other pagans or other whatever their spiritual path is. They can't find other people. And this is blowing my mind because I'm not really sure where they're looking, because like we're here and you can find us. We're like, it takes 5 minutes in Google, right? Like, type in North Carolina Gardnerian, okay, and I come up. So, like, yeah. And there are so many other groups. Like, here's some some poor person out in Gastonia claiming that they can't find other Wiccans. There is a relatively large Church of Wicca in Gastonia. They're fantastic people. It's an eclectic group, but they're great. And they're right there, and they've got a beautiful website, and they would take 5 minutes to get in touch with, okay? So to get on the internet and claim that there aren't Wiccans in Gastonia just means that, like, you just make it clear to everybody that you're not really looking, which means that group leaders like me, when we Google you because you've sent us plaintive emails or whatever, we just think you're not serious. Like, there's someone else in town who, every now and then this will happen, right? Because the Charlotte pagan community, and I love us, okay, and there is a community here, whatever people say. The Charlotte community can be kind of hit or miss because the group leaders tend to be friends with each other, but Charlotte has this weird kind of culture where people just really don't like leaving their little pockets of neighborhoods. Nobody wants to drive more than like 15 minutes to go anywhere. I'm constantly being told things like, oh, well, is that uptown? That's too far. And that's like 15 minutes away. Like, you can drive across Charlotte from end to end in like 20 minutes. But people just don't want to travel. And I don't know if that's part of the culture here. I really don't know what the deal is with that, because I'm from DC, and we're used to long commutes. We're used to driving everywhere because you have to. But here, people just don't do that. And I've seen that in pagan communities where, like, no matter where they are, in the city, in neighboring suburbs, in other parts of North Carolina, people complain about not being able to find pagan groups or being alone or whatever, and just like not even 20 miles down the road, like, there will be huge communities that just go, like, I don't get it. So I've been going through this forum this morning, and it's kind of mystifying. And I don't know if I should feel sorry for these people, if I should feel like pity, or if I should just be really dismissive. I don't know what the problem is. And like, I was thinking, this is related to, another pagan blog posted a video, geez, it was months ago. And I never commented on it or anything, but it was a really good point. And one of the things that she was saying was that she worried that, and I'm totally paraphrasing because I haven't watched this in months, but she said something to the effect of how one of the problems with particular kinds of groups, I don't remember if she was talking about lineage Wiccan groups or who specifically she was talking about, but she was worried about issues of class and how groups, like in a way, a certain kind of classism plays out because you have to travel for things like training. And this is really true. And I was trying to decide. I watched her video, and she wrote about it in her blog too. And I was trying to decide if I agreed with her or how I would phrase it, because there are definitely issues there. I mean, I won't take you into my group if you don't have reliable transportation. So if you don't own a car, it's very likely that I won't let you in because I need to be able to count on the people getting there. So is that an issue of class? Am I discriminating against people who can't afford a car, or maybe they're I don't know. Okay, I don't have answers to these things. I'm not dismissing that argument, absolutely, because all of these things are related to class. And let's be real, like when Wicca gets started in Britain, we're talking about a lot of rich white people with a lot of time on their hands. Okay, but I don't know that that's necessarily the case now. It certainly isn't the case in the coven that I was trained in. But anyway, that's something that's been on my mind this morning. Because I'm considering these people, and you know, North Carolina is a poor state, just sort of objectively relative to other states. North Carolina is a poor state. We've got a lot of people here who don't have the kinds of means to travel, and I don't know like what kind of allowances have to be made there in terms of trying to structure pagan communities. And I've been very privileged growing up in that. I grew up in a big city that had fantastic public transportation. I could get on the metro and I could go anywhere in DC and into Virginia and Maryland. So if I wanted to hike across town to go to a ritual, I could do that. And it was pretty easy and relatively inexpensive and clean and safe. Okay, and we don't have that here in Charlotte. We really don't have public transportation. It's pretty sad. So I don't know. But coming from that place of privilege, my first reaction is, well, I can't believe you don't want to drive like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, because, well, we all had to do that. Everybody in my group has had to do that. I know of people who've flown out of state routinely for training, and these are not the sort of people that, like the federal government we consider wealthy. Okay, I mean, obviously, like, wealth is relative. It depends on a lot of factors. But these are people who are making significant sacrifices in their lives for a particular kind of training. One of the reasons why I have the luxury of being able to travel to my group is that because I chose not to have children, I chose not to get married, I chose to veer towards particular kinds of work, and obviously all of these things, you know, they seem like choices, but really they're the results of particular kinds of aspects of my background, right? So how much choice is really going on here? I don't know. Anyway, Pierre Bourdieu, guys. But like these are factors. Anyway, sorry, back to my point. Sorry, I'm gonna ramble at you. I haven't even had coffee yet. So there's one young woman now who's trying to start a meetup group in Charlotte, and they seem to be doing okay. But anyway, a lot of the folks that I've seen posting on the discussion boards on her meetup page, the discussions are all kind of the same thing about how, I'm just really excited to meet other Wiccans. I've been so alone. I don't know anyone. And it's like, guys, you realize that there's another Wiccan meetup group like 10 minutes away? Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you alone? Why do you feel alone? Why, like, maybe I'm making particular kinds of assumptions about how good people are at using the internet, but this is a video in which I reassure you people on Wiccan Together North Carolina Witches group or whatever, that there are pagans and Wiccans all over North Carolina. Like, everywhere. I've lived in multiple cities in North Carolina, And there have always been pagan groups, all right? Like, it's, you know, anyway. Yeah, and I flipped through groups in Alabama, too. Like, there's an Alabama group here, like, oh, poor Alabama, it's too remote and too southern and Bible Belt, blah, 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 I can't find other Wiccans. There are groups. Like, I poke my head in at them every time I visit. So, anyway, I don't really understand. So, there. Yeah. Final bit of advice, I guess. If you are looking for a group, whether this is, I don't know if this is unfortunate or if this is classist or whatever. I'm still thinking about these kinds of things. But if you're looking for a group, just the reality is that you're going to have to travel. The perfect Wiccan coven or the perfect pagan group is not in your backyard. I mean, maybe it is. But if it is, you probably started it and you know how hard it is to start groups, so hooray for you. But if you sincerely, like if that's really what you want and you want to make that a priority, then you're going to have to travel. You're going to have to make particular kinds of sacrifices, whatever that means in your life, for you to be able to travel. That might be, you know, that might be like Corvus, who comes to me from, you know, 8 miles down the road, or that might be someone who has to fly from Tennessee. Okay, like these things happen. So you have to decide whether or not this is really something you want, whether or not this is really something that you can do, because the covens are not going to make allowances for you. They're just not. So that's all. I don't know. Like, go rediscover Witchvox, because I think it's kind of fallen into disfavor. I really don't use it all that much, but I still maintain listings, and it's still a way to find other people. Use Google. Make Google your friend. Like, it's, yeah. So, North Carolina is not a problem, guys. Like, so best of luck seeking. But, yeah, maybe you should just look a little harder. So, anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. And, Oliver and I will see you next time.